Holidaymakers are starting to return home, and we are watching traffic across the country. One of those spots is the N3 toll concession, and it's starting to see traffic picking up somewhat. And this, of course, is in a statement that they released yesterday. And I wonder how things are looking right now. We speak to operations manager at the N3 toll concession, Thania Dhoogra. Thank you so much, Thania, for your time. Let's start with an update of how things are looking, because it looks like people are starting to come back home.
Yes, what we've seen is actually over the past few days already, just after Christmas, some people have already started to make their way home. We are expecting that is going to increase quite significantly from the 31st of December. The route today, for example, was fairly busy, where we reached highs of about 1,100 vehicles an hour. But that has now started easing. But like I said, we're expecting that with the volumes of people who travel down to the KwaZulu-Natal coast, that there's going to be a significant volume of traffic returning, most likely from the 31st of December.
And how much of a challenge has the weather been as well?
Well, today in particular, with the forecast of the weather services of heavy rains, it has been a bit challenging, particularly on the southern section of the route. We had heavy rains and hail, a hailstorm in the Sadara section of the route, which is the southernmost portion. We've also had overcast conditions and misty conditions, which resulted in poor visibility on sections of the route, and that obviously contributes to very dangerous and difficult driving conditions.
And, you know, when one thinks of traffic, we often think about, you know, the volumes of cars that are coming, and no one ever thinks about the impact that a single vehicle breakdown may have on, you know, a flow of traffic there. Let's talk about that, because a lot of people don't think about it. They just seem to think that it's only just about these huge volumes.
That's true. I think, look, for the most part, the impact of a crash can be really, really significant, particularly on the flow of traffic, right? But often where it's impacting only a single lane of traffic, even with the volume of traffic, there still can be we can still maintain a flow of traffic past the scene. But what then tends to happen is that road users become impatient because they don't want to get stuck in the queue, or there's rubbernecking that happens, and that all contributes to slowing down of traffic. And significant delays and congestion in the area. And then also you have those road users who basically just circumvent all the rules, start traveling in the emergency lanes, preventing the emergency services from getting to the scene so that they can attend to the injured and help to clear the scene as quickly as possible, but also endangering the lives of other road users by traveling in the oncoming lanes. So all of these things can have a major impact and cause significant delays and congestion in any particular area around a crash scene.
And looking at the fact that, you know, volumes have started picking up, let's talk about the deployment plan then. Are you having some, you know, special deployments in order to be able to deal with some eventualities, or is it the same number of teams that you would have then deployed at the beginning of the festive season?
Well, from N3TC's perspective, our route patrol services are definitely maintaining a heightened presence on the route, but through our engagement with law enforcement and emergency services, they are also maintaining a heightened presence. There are additional resources that have been deployed throughout the route and who are maintaining static positions at very strategic locations from where what we call satelliting, but from those positions, they then will traverse the entirety of the route, making sure that they're keeping an eye on everything, but also that they're in a position to respond speedily in the event of any emergencies.
And, you know, one of the things that we can never talk about enough is the issue of safety. And the issue of safety not only lies in the hands of officials, but also the people that are using the vehicles, the motorists themselves, the families that are sometimes traveling as well, thinking ahead, safety precautions that also need to be put in place. Tonight, someone is watching, they probably are traveling tomorrow morning. Let's give them a quick run through of how then they can also ensure that they are also just as safe as other motorists are.
Okay. Well, I mean, one of the most important things is, as you mentioned, it's planning ahead so that you are prepared for what's happening. And one of the best ways to do that is by following official verified news sources. For the N3 toll route, that would be N3 Route on Twitter, or our 24-hour N3 helpline where you can get the latest updates. And that number is 0800 63 4357. In addition, it's really important that all road users are alert at all times and remain vigilant, especially when they're driving. Particularly as we mentioned, we have inclement weather conditions at the moment, which makes for dangerous driving conditions. So that requires more focus and attention from road users who should never allow themselves to be distracted. Put down your mobile, make sure that you're keeping your focus and your attention on the road. Keep your headlights turned on so that you are visible to other road users. Maintain your following distances, especially behind heavy vehicles. Often light motor vehicles tend to tailgate trucks. If a truck driver see you in their side mirror, they don't know that you're there, and that can obviously create quite a dangerous situation. And often road users, particularly in light motor vehicles, will then do very dangerous maneuvers, recklessly overtaking when it's unsafe to do so. It's also important to make sure that they always remain buckled up throughout the journey, even their passengers, that they make regular stops at least every 200 kilometers or every 2 hours, or as soon as they're feeling tired, to stop in a place where it's safe for them to do so.
And you touched on it a little bit there, which was going to be my final question, that have you encountered any problems at all with motorists breaking the rules?
Very much so. I mean, look, what we've seen, especially from law enforcement and some of the comments that we see from road users, particularly at crash scenes, is that they report incidents of fellow road users breaking the rules, traveling in the oncoming lanes, excessive speeds that they've encountered or that they've observed, which we obviously will report to the law enforcement officials. So we also rely on our road users to be our partners and our eyes and ears on the road. So if they see anything, to report it to us so that we can escalate it on their behalf as well to the law enforcement authorities to help ensure that everybody is safe on the route and that they all reach their destination safely. I mean, it's important to note that we have to all share the road responsibly and that it's a partnership. As you said, it doesn't only lie in the hands of law enforcement.
And as a reminder of that number, 0800 63 4357, 0800 63 4357. If you ever find yourself in trouble or you just need to report or there's an emergency situation there on the N3 toll concession. Thania, thank you so much for your time. Do appreciate that update. That was Operations Manager N3 toll concession, Thania Dhoogra.